Before a storm hits is the best time to check things outside your home, and here are 3 quick and easy things that you can actually do right now. First off, you want to make sure that all of your trees and your shrubs are properly trimmed, and you want to make sure that you cut any loose limbs and also any dead limbs. You want to make sure that you throw those away because those could become projectiles when it comes to those high winds. Next, when you take a look at your house, you want to make sure that the gutters and the downspouts are actually securely attached to your home. You also want to make sure they're clear, not just down here, but also up top. And then if a storm is coming our way, one of the things that you want to think about is where you might put loose items like trash cans or even patio furniture. You want to make sure that you either tie those down or actually take them inside so they can definitely be secure.
You can save yourself a lot of headaches by taking care of things on the outside of your home long before the hours leading up to a hurricane.
And one thing you definitely don't want to put off is generator maintenance. If you have a generator, right now is the time to get it checked.
Yeah, and if you have to use it this summer, Dashia Swat has some things you'll want to remember before you crank it up.
If it's been a while since you fueled up and turned on your generator, you need to check the oil and air filter and change them if it needs it. This includes portable and whole home generators. Consider having a professional service your generator so you won't have a problem when it comes time to use it. And if you want to connect a generator to your house wiring, you'll need a licensed electrician to install a transfer switch. Remember, when you use a generator, it should never be inside or close to your home. It needs to be at least 20 feet from your house with the exhaust facing away from your home, so you don't put anyone at risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Before refueling, turn off the generator and let it cool down to avoid fire hazards. After Hurricane Beryl and power outages last summer, Houston doctors and hospitals had more than 430 visits in a single week from people suffering from heat-related illnesses. And at least 14 deaths were attributed to heat. So once you have your generator safely up and running after a storm, check on your neighbors who might be elderly or have health conditions. While you may not be able to run your AC on your generator, if you have a working fridge or freezer and can offer ice or a cold drink, that may help your neighbors beat the heat too.
Thanks, Daji. Well, the summer heat in Houston, well, we all know, is just downright brutal, right? So looking out for each other is very important.
CenterPoint is making strides to strengthen the grid and minimize outages during future storms.
As Rochelle Turner reports, the power company says it's ahead of schedule, having completed phase 2 of its Greater Houston Resiliency Initiative, and it is now better equipped for hurricane season.
First, it was the Houston derecho. Then came Hurricane Beryl.
Coming out of the derecho and Beryl last year, we knew that our performance was not up to what our customers and communities expected of us.
CenterPoint wasn't prepared to handle the scale of the damage. Millions were left in the dark, battling the scorching heat with no real timeline on when their power will be back on.
What we really need to do is pray, because you guys ain't ready if another one comes this session.
State leaders also called on an investigation as people shared their frustration at meetings held by the Public Utility Commission.
It is unforgivable that this is the best Texas has to offer in resiliency.
In response, CenterPoint launched the Greater Houston Resiliency Plan last August and has already completed about 1.5 years' work in under 9 months.
It was a tremendous undertaking, but we knew it was important to get it done.
CenterPoint has installed 25,000 poles like this one. We watched as crews placed it in the ground on Tuam Street in Montrose. The poles are made of fiberglass that can withstand extreme wind speeds.
We absolutely know that we're going to show up better for our customers on the kind of the infrastructure side.
They also buried 400 miles of power lines underground and added over 4,500 automation devices, also known as trip savers. Here's an example of the old models compared to the new ones.
What this device will do is if, let's say it's a squirrel or a tree branch that causes a fault on the line, it will sense that it was just temporary and it will automatically re-energize that line.
They clear more than 4,000 miles of vegetation from power lines. For the first time, CenterPoint has its own weather system. I met Matt Lanza, CenterPoint's meteorologist, who took me to one of the 100 new monitoring stations just installed across the area. There's one set up at Edlow Street and West Park Drive and West U.
So this weather station is similar to what you would put in your backyard, but on a much more industrial strength scale. So if you want to know what the temperature is, the humidity, the wind speed, the rainfall, this weather station is going to measure all that. We've already used it a few times this spring to help with thunderstorm conditions and thunderstorm response.
CenterPoint believes its latest upgrades will give customers more peace of mind.
We know that we had a long way to go to improve what our customers experienced last storm season, but we will not stop. We'll continue to work around the clock.
Last year, millions of customers were frustrated with the lack of clear updates during the power outages. But this time around, CenterPoint tells me that they are ready. They already have a plan in place to keep you in a loop. Within 24 hours after a storm moves out of the area, they'll release a global estimate for when power will be restored to at least 95% of customers. By 48 hours, they'll share a regional timeline based on your location. And after 72 hours, you'll start seeing those localized restoration times specific to your home using the Outage Tracker tool. For KPRC2 News, I'm Rochelle Turner.
While a lot's being done to reduce power problems, there's always a chance of encountering a down power line as a result of a storm.
Yeah, and that is incredibly dangerous. Here's the bottom line. If you see one on the ground, assume that it's live. Don't try to go up and check it yourself. Stay away at least 30 feet and always call 911 immediately. Here's the other thing. If a line falls on your car, don't get out. Stay inside. And Caroline, you need to call for help immediately.
That's right. And if there's a fire and you have to escape the car, you need to jump completely clear of the car and land with both your feet, never touching the metal of the car and the ground at the same time.
Something else to keep in mind, if there's flooding, stay out of the water if you can avoid it, because a down power line may be submerged, causing an incredibly dangerous situation.
Yeah, one way to avoid those dangers is to stay in your home until conditions improve, or you can evacuate before the storm if officials say you need to go.
Now, still ahead, evacuation zones and routes out of town, plus the things you'll want to have in your family's hurricane kit.
But first, Brittany Begley uses a paint tray to demonstrate how quickly you can find yourself in deep water if you don't listen to warnings about staying off the roads.
You can see right here, this car, no problem going down this roadway. But what happens to the same roadway when it starts raining? A mistake a lot of people make is that they see this ramp right here, or maybe that secondary road, and they think, oh, it's just a little bit of water. And they're right. We're looking at less than 1/10 of an inch of rain right here. But that car, as it continues to go south, what they don't know, especially again on those secondary roads and those feeder roads, is those dips that we have, especially at night. You can't see the difference, right? By the time we get to the end of the roadway, we're now at 2 to 2.5 inches. Have you ever wondered how many inches of water does it actually take to flood out your car, to lose control or put yourself in a dangerous or maybe even deadly situation on the roadways? Right here, all the way up to 6 inches. This is all it takes for you to be in a dangerous situation, which is why we say, turn around, don't drown.